Hi, Virgo. Welcome to your March 2019 Astro Alchemy with Rain and Moon. So, Virgo, there's a great emphasis on your opposite sign of Pisces, and this is going to be in your 7th house of committed partnership. So that could be the focus for March, because as we enter the month, the sun is in that sign. And so this highlights the area of your primary relationship. And this doesn't have to be bad. This could be that you're getting back on track, or that you are just maybe doing a lot with your partner at this time. Maybe it's for some people, it's a new commitment that you've been dating somebody and now maybe you're recently married or have moved in together, and that is why there is such a focus in that area. It could be just about anything as long as it's related to that primary relationship. As the month begins, Venus is in Aquarius, and this is in the house that you rule, the 6th house. So this gives a practical flavor to the goddess of love and beauty. Venus in the 6th house can, first of all, because it's the workplace, it could be that you are having a really harmonious experience at work. If there were any kind of problems in the past, they've been smoothed over. This could also mean a raise, because Venus can bring money into that sector. And it can mean that you're trying to beautify yourself through diet and exercise, because this is the house of health. So because Venus, in addition to ruling the 7th house of partnerships, also rules the 2nd house of earned income and luxury items. So you could be buying a luxury item that's connected with health. So I just had this with Libra, and I mentioned the Vitamix because that's a luxury item, believe me, for what they cost for a blender, but they're worth it. But the thing is, it's that it's not your everyday purchase. Let's put it that way. It could even be like splurging for a spa, but one that is more therapeutic, that maybe like massages, things that can actually have health benefits. Could be even for some single Virgos finding love in the workplace. I didn't mention that for Libra. I should have. Okay, on the 5th, Mercury goes retrograde at 29 degrees of Pisces. I have to ask Virgos, do you feel Mercury retrograde differently than other people? I don't know. That's up for you to decide. Now, this is in that 7th house, and it's at the 29 degree mark. So it's something that you've been discussing with your partner has come to, you've kind of talked it all out, and now it's time for deliberation. So there is the possibility, if you haven't been getting along, that you're deciding whether or not to stay together. And maybe you have decided to separate so that you can have your own space, get your head together, and figure out how to proceed. This is going to be resolved at the end of the month, whatever this situation is. Now, the 7th house can be lawsuits. So there may be some kind of a break in the action. Maybe there needs to be more evidence that is gathered. On the 6th, the next day, Uranus goes into Taurus, a fellow earth sign, and there is a new moon in Pisces. So, interestingly, the Uranus and Taurus angle is taking place in your 9th house with fellow earth sign Taurus, and the 9th house is also associated with the legal system. So we have Uranus and Taurus, and then we have the new moon in Pisces in the 7th house of lawsuits. And I would just say with lawsuits, any kind of bringing forth of a legal case, let's put it that way. And So with Uranus in the ninth house, Virgo, I was even thinking that for some of you, this could involve whether or not to, you may inject technology into your life with travel. So perhaps this is even work-related, where you no longer are tied to an office. And this could mean being a digital nomad, where you can work from anywhere in the world. Because Uranus does connect with technology, and the ninth house is travel. The ninth house is also the God house. So Uranus can give a much less conventional form of spiritual belief system. This could be exploring alternative religions. And that means outside of the, typical organized religion sects that we are familiar with. It could involve telepathy and all those kinds of psychic arts. And actually astrology is connected to Uranus and Aquarius, the sign that it rules. So that's where, I'm going with that, where it's still in the realm of the spiritual belief system, but it's a little bit more far out and less conventional. So the new moon is in that house of committed partnership, and depending on how your relationship is going already, you will be able to determine whether that is going to be that you stay together or whether or not the new development is actually that you're thinking of splitting up. Either way, it's all good, because if you're splitting up, there might have been a very good reason, and it's going to make both of your lives happier, more harmonious. On the 20th, the sun goes into Aries, and on that very same day, there is a full moon at 0 degrees of Libra. So the sun is going into that 8th house of other people's money and intimacy and metaphysics, and the moon is in that more, I would dare say, more practical Earth house, 2nd house of earned income. And so this kind of shines a light on your finances. This is especially important for couples that are thinking of perhaps calling it quits, because you may be trying to figure out how you're going to support yourself, and if you can support yourself. And the full moon can also be a time of culmination, although with 0 degrees, it seems like a new moon to me. But for culmination, what I'm referring to is if you have a kind of job where you get paid in a commission and maybe you have not gotten paid in a while. Maybe you get like a lot of money at one time, right around the time of this vernal equinox, we call it in the Northern Hemisphere. Power period of the sun changing into a cardinal sign, the solstices and the equinoxes. On the 26th, Venus goes into Pisces, into that 7th house. So it smooths things over. If there's any kind of marital discord, if there's any kind of, if there's a legal case where it's getting heated up, Venus, maybe this is a settlement, because it is happening, we are going to have Mercury direct in this house too, but Venus can bring the moolah. So if there's a fight about money, it might get resolved this month. On the 28th, Mercury goes direct, 16 degrees of Pisces in this house. So that the problem is solved, whatever that is. And if you have been discussing something with your spouse, you come to some decision. On the 31st, Mars is in Gemini. Now, this is a fellow air sign, I said fellow air sign. I meant up until that 31st date, which is the vast, vast majority of the month, it's in fellow earth sign Taurus. Okay, in the 9th house, Mars is also you feeling that desire to be traveling and expanding your mind as well. So, like I had mentioned, Uranus is also in this house. So, for Virgos, you might be feeling kind of restless and not wanting to be tied down. And Mars then goes into that 10th house on the 31st in Gemini, and your career starts heating up. So this could be travel that is connected to career, just like I had suspected. I do feel that some of you may be wanting to have a more like, how can I put it? Like a working from a remote location and not having to be, tied down to an office. And so this can be really a great time of exploration. With Mars in the 10th house, there is that drive to succeed. And so you may just watch out for any kind of conflict with higher ups, because Mars can also indicate conflict, and the 10th house can be the authority figures in your life. And if you're an adult, these will be your boss. So anyway, that's what I have for you, Virgo. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you would like a personalized natal chart interpretation based on the time of your birth, the template for your incarnation, please check out my offerings. I have a link below. Take care. Bye.